The following is a presentation of IMG, America's home for college sports. Live from Quaker Steak and Lube on US 1 in Edison, this is the Chris Ash Show. Your chance to talk with the head coach of the Scarlet Knights on the Rutgers IMG Sports Network. Tonight's show is brought to you by To be a part of the show, give us a call at 1-877-384-1869. That's 877-384-1869. Now, let's go live to Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison to talk Rutgers football. Here's your host, Chris Carlin.
And we are off and running for week 3 of the Chris Ash Show right here on the Rutgers IMG Sports Network on 1450 WCTC AM in New Brunswick, and of course on RVision and Facebook Live. Chris Carlin, along with the coach Chris Ash, and in for Eric LeGrand this week, Anthony Fusilli. How about a little surprise, Coach? You get Fooch next to you.
I love it. You know, this is the year of the special guest host, and we got another one tonight. And I really like his style. When he comes and is a part of the show, he gets a steak every time.
Oh, yeah.
And I love when Fucci brings new energy, man, all the time.
He really does.
Yeah.
He never gets cheated.
Big shoes to fill tonight, but like Coach says, next man up.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And our telephone number is 877-384-1869 for you if you want to ask your questions for Coach. And, of course, if you're in attendance here at Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison, first of all, if you're not, come on by. We'll be here for the next hour. And if you are, come on up front. We'll have questions for you. I'll have a microphone set up for you and question for your opportunity to ask the coach as well. You can tweet us your questions at Rutgers Radio or at RU Athletics. So Scarlet Knights now 1-1 on the season after the loss out at Ohio State this past week. Back-to-back road games in the month of September for Rutgers for the first time since 2012. But, Coach, we look back on last week for a few minutes, and not the result you wanted, certainly, but what did you take out of the Ohio State game after looking at the tape?
Yeah, Chris, to start, it wasn't the result that we wanted, but we knew that was going to be a tremendous challenge. It's a top-5 football team. It is every year. They're loaded with NFL players. We knew we were going to have to go play our best football to have a chance, and they were going to have an off day. It didn't happen. They had a great day. We had an off day, and it didn't go like any of us wanted. But I did like our team's resolve and the way we've bounced back here this week. You know, when you go through a loss like that, your team can really go one of two directions, and it's really based on the character, chemistry of your team. We've got great chemistry. We've got great kids, and they've had really good practices here the last couple of days.
Coach, the thing I like to see is the teaching moments in that game when you see a young player like Avery Young. I mean, it wasn't a perfect game for him, but boy, was he mixing it up. Was he going after people? You know, he was diving right in to try to make every tackle.
Yeah, he's a physical kid and really excited about his potential and his future here in our program. You know, he did a great job in the run game, obviously gave up a couple deep balls, but that's going to happen as a freshman in his first start against one of the best offenses in America. He'll learn from it. He'll be better from it. And the thing I like in those situations, again, just like I mentioned a team, a young player can go one of two directions. You know, his confidence can be crushed, and not with him. You know, he bounced back, and he's very confident. He believes in himself. He believes in what we're asking him to do, and he's had a great week of practice, and he's hungry to get back out and play better.
You know, Coach, talked to him actually just a little while ago after practice, and it's fitting, I think, that he has Isaiah Wharton on the other side because Isaiah was in this exact situation as a freshman. So that can only help somebody like that. And I actually asked Isaiah, what would you go back and tell yourself? Because that's kind of what you're doing right now. Yeah. And he said, just relax. Yeah. Just relax and play. And it's got to be a benefit to him to have somebody who has been in that exact spot before to help him along here.
Yeah, absolutely. Him and Bless both were thrown kind of into the fire earlier in their career. And didn't, you know, I think it was 2014 or 15, whatever it was. It didn't go so well for them either. But they're a lot better today because of those, challenges that they were faced and at that time. And they're bringing Avery along a lot. just constantly trying to help him and help prepare him, keep him positive, keep him upbeat, and talk to them about what they went through. And it's great to have that, and those guys have done an unbelievable job trying to provide leadership for him.
You know, I pointed it out during the broadcast. A couple years ago, Tariq Maddox-Williams was in that situation where he had to play at Ohio State. Greg Jones went down, and you threw him in there, and you know what? He was just a young pup, but now you see him out there making plays, running around, physical, and look how much he's grown from that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's player development has been outstanding with him. He got thrown in. He was a high school defensive end. His first linebacker action in college was at Ohio State. And, you know, he really went on and had a very good year, and he's had some shoulder problems in the ACL last year, but he's healthy now, and he's had a great start to this season, and I'm really looking forward to him to continue to grow and develop and help lead our defense, but he was in that exact same spot a couple years ago.
Once again, our telephone number, 877-384-1869, 877-384-1869. Have a couple of questions coming in on Twitter as we speak. At Rutgers Radio. First one, Coach, is asking for an update on the situation with Bless on Austin, who you mentioned a moment ago. Where do we stand with him at this point?
Yeah, Bless has been week to week since his injury against Texas State. He's going to see another doctor here on Friday, and then they may have to do surgery on him. We'll know Friday, though, but he feels great. That's the tough situation that he's in right now. We had the ACL repair, worked really hard to get back. Got twisted up against Texas State, and they're not sure what they need to do yet, but he's going to go see another doctor Friday, and we'll find out.
And as far as Art's concerned, you said during your news conference the other day that he came back Sunday and was feeling pretty good.
Yeah, Art's had a great week of practice. You know, Tuesday and Wednesday. Today, you know, obviously Wednesday we just got done with practice a little bit ago. He's had 2 great days of preparation. He's not 100% yet, but he's not far from it. And by kickoff time on Saturday, he should be pretty darn close.
Once again, our telephone number, 877-384-1869. The experience of last week, just for the younger aspects of your team, we've given the number a couple of times, but I think it bears repeating. 70% of the players in this program are first or second year players. So to go through something like that and to understand what it's about, and then to be right back at it this week on the road again, what can be taken away from that experience that will help build them as football players?
Well, there's a couple. You'd always like to learn lessons in victories, lessons from losses. But you know, things that our young players will take from that is they've got to go work extremely hard. Because that's a very good football team. We're going to face other very good football teams in this league, and we're going to do it every year. And if they want to be able to go compete and have a chance to win those games, they're going to have to go work really, really hard for the rest of their time. It's not just going to happen by showing up and going through the motions. And I'm not saying our players haven't done that, but it just sends a message to our younger players who have not played against a team like that, in an environment like that, like, wow, these guys are for real. We want to be like that. We've got to go to work.
I wanted to get your thoughts, Coach, on the kickoffs. I mean, Rahim Blackshear, the pride of Archbishop Wood, a number of times did not run it out. And I kind of like the new rule because you get it at the 25. But what's your philosophy on the new rule and your thoughts?
Well, there's nothing wrong with starting an offensive possession on the 25. In the last couple years here with our kickoff return unit, we've had plenty of possessions that have started inside the 25. And if we can start on the 25 consistently, either through a kick return or by a fair catch and the ball being placed at the 25, great, we're all for it. Now, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of strategy built into deciding whether we're going to fair catch it or take it. A lot of it is through game planning through the week based on their kicker, that type of hang time, location, distance, the speed, and quality of their kickoff coverage team goes into that decision-making process. And then when you get out there, it's just like a punt. You know, you've got to decide if I'm going to fair catch a punt or try to return it. We give our returners some of that same flexibility. There's certain times we're going to say we'll shut it down, or hey, you know, make a decision based on the kick and location to return it.
We've got another question coming in on Twitter at Rutgers Radio. Coach, with the limits placed on contact in practice, how do you manage to balance getting better with little chance for live tackling? Is it much different now than it was maybe the last few years with how you have to handle a team, considering it's difficult to get physical during the week when these guys are still recovering?
Yeah, the rules aren't any different right now for that
right.
During the season. Tuesday we call it Tackle Tuesday, and that's the day that we spend a lot of time on tackling. And there's several different types of things we do. We will do live tackling on Tuesday, but it's in controlled settings. It's not in team settings. It's in one-on-one controlled settings, close-quartered settings where there's not a lot of high-impact collisions. So we do that every Tuesday. We do a lot of space work where we're working on our tracking, our gather, our closing the distance between a defender and a ball carrier, because so much of college football is played out in space in this day and age. So we work on that all the time. And then every chance that we get, whether it's a team rep, a 7-on-7, it's all about running to the ball, eliminating space, and finishing. So you don't necessarily always have to get live tackling to get better at tackling.
We've got our first phone call of the night. That is Cesar in Lakewood. Caesar, I should say, in Lakewood, who is joining us right now on the Chris Ash Show. Caesar, how are you?
How you doing, Chris? Coach, how you doing?
Doing great.
All right. Hey, Coach, just a question, not to belabor Saturday's game. So when the Ohio State defensive line is really tagging off on us, they're really trying to attack the quarterback, and I know we have a freshman quarterback, how much coaching is done with him as far as changing the cadence so that maybe we can change up their defensive attack like so intensely?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. Honestly, when you go play in that type of environment with over 100,000 fans and you're the opponent, they get their loudest when you're on offense. So a lot of it is done on silent cadence, but we do change the snap rhythm and not always snap it in the same manner. So we do work on that a lot. And a lot of that Saturday was our silent cadence, and we did change it up throughout the course of the game. You have to, because if it's always the same defensive lineman like that, they get a better jump and you're really in trouble.
Now you mentioned the crowd. How much is it going to help bringing this young team back on the road again this week after 100,000 people in Ohio State?
Well, you're not going to find really a better environment than what we were in. You know, Penn State has over 100,000. Michigan has over. We've been to those places. The older players have all been to them, so it's not really that big of a deal to them anymore. But every time you take a new group of young players that have never seen it, that is a different deal. I was actually talking to one player the other day, and I asked him, how did you feel like you did Saturday? He said, not very good. And I said, why? He goes, well, it was my only second start, first time playing against Ohio State in that stadium. You know, it was different, and I didn't really think about it, honestly. It was his only second start. He'd never been there before, and he was going up against some of the best defensive linemen in the country, and he was nervous. And he'll be better off for that experience, not only for this week, but other weeks down the road.
We'll take our first break before we get to our first question in attendance here at 877-384-1869. We'll also take more calls for the coach, Chris Ash. Rutgers getting ready for Kansas. We'll talk about that matchup, and later on in the program, we will be joined by Rutgers assistant head coach and offensive line coach A.J. Blazek. That's coming up in just a bit at Quaker Steak and Lube here in Edison. Hang with us. We're just getting started on Week 3's edition of the Chris Ash Show.
Best tailgate? It's gotta be burgers. And an ice cold Coke.
Real football y pollo asado.
Hoops and wings. Dude, subs.
Nah, hot dog.
No, Dodger dog.
I'll drink to that. Pass me a Coke. It's gotta be crawfish. Mac and cheese. No. 7-layer dip. Ribs. No contest.
Hummus.
What?
You need a hot grill.
And an ice cold Coke.
Of course.
Football and Coke. Come on.
It's got to be Coke.
Game day? Race day.
Calls for Coke. You know it.
It's tailgating 101.
When we take care of our own hearts, we're also taking care of the people closest to us. So it's comforting to know that RWJ Barnabas Health has New Jersey's most comprehensive cardiac care program, with access to top specialists, minimally invasive heart surgery options, and rehabilitation and wellness programs. So get your heart checked. It's as easy as visiting rwjbh.org/heart. RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
The Chris Ash Show returns after this local timeout. This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube. Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2.50, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar open all year round. On the way to the game and need something to go? Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size. Watch all the games, have a great time, and enjoy the best wings in the USA. 561 Route 1 in Edison. 732-777-WING. This is Cabell Philpott, host of the Nissan College Football Blitz. Heard every Saturday from noon until midnight Eastern on TuneIn.com and the TuneIn app. When there's a big play, a momentum change, and that possible upset happening, not only will we let you know, you'll hear the scores as they happen live. Catch all of the action as we count you down to the college football playoff. It's the Nissan College Football Blitz. Saturdays, noon until midnight Eastern on the College Sports Now channel on TuneIn.com and the TuneIn app.
All right, we're back at Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison, New Jersey. Week 3 of the Chris Ash Show. Rutgers heading to the Midwest to take on Kansas. In Lawrence, Kansas, about 50 miles or so from Kansas City. And we have our first question from one of our people in attendance tonight. And that, of course, is our old friend Jim from North Brunswick. Jim, how are you?
Great, Chris. How are you?
I'm great.
Hello, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing great.
General football question. We were talking at our table about the fact that something like 19 teams in the last 40 years have won a national championship in football. And do you see anything in college football changing, anything on the landscape in college football changing to let some other teams perhaps enter that room of 19 teams?
A couple years ago, college football went through some major changes. And with conference realignment and all that, and the college football playoff system, so there were a lot of changes that took place a few years ago, in an effort to hopefully allow others to have an opportunity to maybe jump up every now and then and challenge. Washington was one of those teams here most recently, but I do think historically and probably going forward, the group of really legitimate players that have an opportunity to win a national championship every year, it will probably be the same. But there's always an opportunity every year for an outlier to have a really good team, things go their way, and get in that mix. Now, can they consistently do it? That's another story. But when you look at the group of 10 to 12 teams that really have a shot at a national title every year, you're going to see some of the same characteristics or the same things within those universities and programs and their areas. A lot of common things there. But I do think that a team can always jump up and have a great year and put themselves in the mix and have an opportunity to be in the playoff and have a chance at a national title.
Well, I hope you're referred to as an outlier at some point.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I got to tell you, I told you, he's talking about the conversations at his table. I'm very disappointed in him.
Why is that?
He's here every week. He was not here last week. He
That's
didn't
true.
Call in last week. We did not have a question from him last week.
It's a fair point. Jim, your response.
No, I didn't say you could get the mic back, Jim.
I have the
you
mic
asked
back.
a question. I answered it.
I was at a Rutgers-centric event. I was at a Rutgers wrestling golf outing. So
well,
my
Can we get
apologies.
somebody to check that? Can we have a verify?
We do.
Where's
we
Coach
do.
Goodell?
And I accept full responsibility for the loss.
Yeah, there are cell phones, Jim. You can use it.
Our telephone number, once again, 877-384-1869. But just to follow up on that for a second, you've been there. You've got the national championship. You've been a part of that. And I think that what gets lost sometimes is, yes, it's about the players that you have, but it's about so much more that has to be around that to move into that upper echelon.
Yeah, I don't know that everybody truly understands how hard and difficult it is to one, just win, but then to consistently win at a high level. A lot of people point to just a few things. It's a number of things, and you really have to be excellent at a lot of things to be able to consistently be in that conversation. Again, It's not just your strength and condition. It's not just your coach. It's not just your recruit. There's a number of things, and the list could go on and on. And I've seen it. I've been there, and I know what it looks like. And very few people have it. I mean, and that's just being honest. Very few people have it.
I'm sure you saw it at Wisconsin. It's patience. I mean, they've come a long way. They didn't get there today. That took a while, and it's patience and it's commitment, right?
Yeah. If you look back at the history of the University of Wisconsin before Barry Alvarez got there. It wasn't very good, yeah. And it took him, I think, until his 5th year before they went to a bowl game, and he hit it big and went to a Rose Bowl in that 5th year, and then the rest is history. It's been really a consistent top 15 program year in and year out, but it took a lot of time and effort, but it took a lot of patience, and it took a lot of time and effort by a lot of people, not just one guy or a couple of individuals. It took a lot of people to get that where it's at.
Our telephone number, 877-384-1869. More questions on Twitter in just a few minutes as well. Coach, let's talk about some of your younger players who have already gotten a good amount of playing time. And we've talked about Avery Young. I want to focus on a few other spots. First of all, Rahim Blackshear, who is in year 2 of the program now. We've seen him through the first couple of games. You see what the explosiveness is. But I'm curious about the other things that go into being a running back, the pass protection aspects of it, the intricacies of it. How well does he do those types of things now?
He's a lot better than he was last year. Last year it was just to find a way to get Rahim the ball on a few plays. And as the season wore on, he got better and better, more comfortable, and we could expand the package. This year the package for Rahim is a lot bigger. We're not only asking him to be a running back, we're not only asking him to run the ball, he's got pass protection, he's got routes, he's going to line up at wide receiver. We're going to have him at kick returner, he's been a punt returner. We're asking him to do a lot of things, but the package that we're asking Rahim to master is a lot bigger than what it was a year ago.
Coach, when you see an older guy like Jonathan Hillman, he ran hard against Ohio State. You guys didn't have a lot of snaps, but I mean, when he did, he showed that, the old days at St. Peter's Prep, that, he's the guy who's going to run hard up the middle there and break some tackles.
Absolutely. He showed that in the first game, too. He came in some short yardage situations and moved the sticks. We put him in down on the goal line, and he got in the end zone. He's one of those guys. He's not real flashy, but he is tough. He runs really hard. He takes care of the ball. The ball is in high regard for him. And really like what those two individuals can do for each other. They're different styles of backs. They both have their strengths, and we're going to use both of them as well as the other guys in the room. It's not just those two, but the other guys in the room as well. But those two so far have been a good 1-2 punch.
And it's good for a guy like Pacheco to learn from Hillman, I guess. He's a veteran, and those guys can kind of rely on him and ask questions and follow him, right?
It's been great for all of those guys, because all of the guys between Rahim, Isaiah, and Trey Sneed, they're all young players. And to have a guy like Jonathan in the room to talk to them about the preparation, taking care of their body, how important practice is, all that stuff, it's been great.
The receivers outside, and again, the outlying responsibilities. You can look on a stat sheet, you can see how many catches a guy has, but for receivers, there's blocking, there's other things too, and you have got a very young core. So how have they all handled, Bo Melton, Wormley, all those guys, how have they handled the other responsibilities that come with this position?
Well, I'll start just, again, I'm not into comparisons, but we will compare right now, today, those young players that you've mentioned that are in their 2nd year in the program are way better than what they were last year. Bo Melton, Everett Wormley, Shameen Jones, those are some guys that were here last year as true freshmen. Everett and Bo played. Shameen didn't. You got the Hayek brothers that were true freshmen. So all of those players are better today than they were last year. Now they need to continue to get better. Some of them are better route runners. Some of them are more consistent with their ball skills. Some are better blockers. Some are just special teams players right now. But overall, that core group of guys, and we needed that core group of guys, in the program last year. We need them to get better this year as we go forward, and they're going to be so much better, next year and the years after. So there's a lot of things they have to get better at. They are all different in terms of their skill set and their strengths, but I really like the trajectory that they're on right now and the path that they're headed in.
You mentioned specials. I think you got some kickers on this team, Coach. I mean, I'm very impressed with Jason Davinovitz out of Bridgewater Raritan. I mean, he's not only kicking the ball, he's making tackles out there.
Did you like that?
I loved it. I mean,
I'll be honest.
That was a great open field tackle.
I mean,
yeah,
I know you don't love
you were a little
the kicker
nervous,
making a
probably.
tackle,
Yeah, there's not one thing I like about a kicker making a tackle because usually something bad has happened. But we do work on tackling with our kickers, and it was a great form tackle. It'll be on the clinic tape, unfortunately, but he did a great job. I really love Justin. Justin handled our kickoffs last year. Our kickoff coverage team from 2016 to 17 went from the worst to the first in the conference, and a lot of it had to do with him and his ability to get good hang time and good kick placement. And he's doing a great job now handling our kickoffs and our place kicking. His first field goal, he's been 5 of 5 at PATs, and he went out the other day and got an opportunity for his first college field goal, and that was a big deal. It was a 40-plus, whatever it was, but that was a big deal for his confidence and for our overall team's confidence that we know we can put him out there and hopefully get points on the board.
And Adam looks like he's adapting to the American football game pretty well for his first time through 2 games. And you can see, you talked about it, it's a different way of kicking, but it makes it much more difficult on the returner to try to handle.
It does. You saw really in the last 2 weeks, the punt returners for the opponent has struggled to cleanly catch the ball, and that's by design. I mean, that's what we want. His kick placement, he's not a traditional spiral kicker or punter. We're not going to get the same hang time that we would have gotten out of Ryan Anderson last year. Their styles are completely different. What we're asking them to do is completely different. He's more of a placement punter instead of a hang time and distance guy. And the way he kicks the ball, the way it comes off his foot, makes it more difficult to field. Now, he has to get more consistent with the placements. We had one last week that he kicked right down the middle of the field, and they got a decent return. But we also had a couple missed tackles on it, too. It wasn't the punter. We had a couple missed tackles from our gunner position. But I really like Adam for a freshman, being here for 2 games, what he's done and what he's going to be able to do as we go forward. We're really excited about it.
I think it's a great story because you got a kid, I know you got a staff who looks at all these hours of film. A kid from Australia, you find him, you're not like you're recruiting or you're not going down to Australia. A leap of faith that this kid could do it.
Maybe next year we'll get that on. We went to Sweden. Maybe we'll go to Australia next year. Okay, I know Pat's here. Pat, is that in the budget? We'll take a recruiting trip to Australia.
It's been working so far.
Just quickly, kind of a technical question. Is it much different for coverage guys with this kind of punter? Do they just have to time it a little bit differently? Because I know for, let's say, the guys on the line have to count it off and then they're off and running before before the punt's in the air.
Well, there are some things you have to be more aware of. The ball is going to hit the ground more, and you have to be really alert at where the ball's at. So if it hits the ground and takes an odd bounce, it doesn't roll into you and hit you. That is probably the biggest difference. We were a directionally punt team with Ryan Anderson. We are with the Australian kid with Adam, but that's all the same. But it's just when the ball hits the ground, you got to be careful.
All right, we got another phone call, 877-384-1869. It's Rich in Allentown, Pennsylvania, who is up next. Rich, you're on the Chris Ash Show.
Thank you, Coach. I have a question about pass coverage.
Yeah.
Last week, our opponent completed 30 of 33 passes. How is this being addressed?
Well, there's a number of things. First and foremost, we have to generate a pass rush. Against a very good quarterback like Dwayne Haskins is, if you don't affect the quarterback by putting pressure on him, he's going to have all day. And I don't care who you are back there covering, if the quarterback's got all day, you're going to struggle to cover. So that's the first thing we have to do. The other part of it now, their offensive line was really good, and that had something to do with our inability to get pressure. Is those guys are really good in pass protection, and they have really good receivers running good routes. You look at the week before, and the pass defense statistics were really good in our favor. So, it goes back and forth each week. We want to be consistent with our pressure and our tight coverage. But we did not get pressure on the quarterback last week. We did get 1 sack, but we did not put him under stress and force him into bad throws like we needed to.
All right, we'll take a timeout. We come back. We will visit with Rutgers offensive line coach and assistant head coach A.J. Blazek. He's in year 3. He's been with you here for since the get-go. First of all, before we get to A.J., describe A.J. as a coach through his first couple of years here at Rutgers.
Well, that could take a while, but here's what I'll tell you. He is a native Kansan. Is that right, A.J.?
Yes.
Kansan or whatever?
Kansan?
Yeah, Kansan. Is that it? He's a native Kansan. He loves Casey's Pizza. if you guys don't know what Casey's Pizza is, that's a convenience store out in Kansas.
Oh, AJ.
So we are
No.
going to Kansas to play a game, but AJ is excited about possibly getting Casey's Pizza in Lawrence.
No.
So we can't let him out of the hotel. But AJ's been a great staff member for us. He's got great relationships with our players. He's great in recruiting. Everybody that has interactions with AJ comes away impressed with his energy, his enthusiasm. And I love having AJ around. You know, whenever I've got to relieve some stress, I can go to AJ's office, and he helps me out. So it's been fun.
All right, we'll talk to Coach Blazek next. Stay with us. It is week 3 of the Chris Ash Show, live from Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison, New Jersey. Hang with us. A lot more to do over the next half hour.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube. Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2.50, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar open all year round. On the way to the game and need something to go? Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size. Watch all the games, have a great time, and enjoy the best wings in the USA. 561 Route 1 in Edison. 732-777-WING.
When you think sports, think McGettigan's, the official watch party location for Rutgers football in the premier Irish bar in New York City. Enjoy our watch party specials with $10 buckets of wings and $5 Coors Light beer buckets, and great weekly specials such as Beer and Burger Mondays, Taco Tuesdays, and Ladies Night on Wednesdays. Located at 70 West 36th Street in Midtown Manhattan, McGettigan's is close to some of the city's most iconic landmarks, such as the Empire State Building and Madison Square Garden. So when you think sports, think McGettigan's.
The Chris Ash Show returns after this local timeout. This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
When we take care of our own hearts, we're also taking care of the people closest to us. So it's comforting to know that RWJ Barnabas Health has New Jersey's most comprehensive cardiac care program, with access to top specialists, minimally invasive heart surgery options, and rehabilitation and wellness programs. So get your heart checked. It's as easy as visiting rwjbh.org/heart. RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Best tailgate? It's gotta be burgers. And an ice cold Coke.
Real football y pollo asado.
Hoops and wings. Dude, subs.
Nah, hot dog.
No, Dodger dog.
I'll drink to that. Pass me a Coke. It's gotta be crawfish. Mac and cheese. No. 7-layer dip. Ribs. No contest.
Hummus.
What?
You need a hot grill.
And an ice cold Coke.
Of course.
Football and Coke. Come on.
It's got to be Coke.
Game day? Race day.
Calls for Coke. You know it.
It's Tailgate 101.
All right, we have returned for week 3 of the Chris Ash Show as it rolls on from Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison, New Jersey on 1450 WCTC in New Brunswick, and of course on RVision at ScarletKnights.com and on Facebook Live as well. Chris Carlin along with Anthony Fusilli, who's in for Eric LeGrand this week. And we are joined now by the assistant head coach and offensive line coach for Rutgers, and that is A.J. Blazek, who is a native Kansan. Is it Kansan?
It's Kansan.
It's
Yeah,
Kansan.
it's
Let's get the first thing settled. Gas station pizza. Here's my first question. How dare you?
Why is the second question.
Fooch just told me there's no good pizza west of New York
There
City.
isn't. There isn't. Philly for a year, they told me there was good pizza down there. I never found it. And trust me, I went looking. So, all right. I mean, I understand port in a storm, so to speak, but how do we get the Casey's gas station pizza as a delicacy in the A.J. Blazek spectrum?
This pizza thing's really exploded.
Yeah, this is a
I've
problem
heard about
for
it
you
a
right
while
now.
Yeah, it's it goes back to probably college days.
Okay.
Just, you know, you don't have as much money in the pocket, and so you got things you like. They go back a long time.
I understand.
We'll try it. I'll get you some. I'll bring them back.
I'm good. I'm good.
You know, Blaze, you have made a lot of relationships in North Jersey, and it's amazing the energy that I hear from the high school coaches about you. But don't bring up the pizza thing to them, okay?
Yeah, that's not going to help. But let's talk about this for a second. You are a Midwest guy for your entire life from Kansas. We'll get to that in a second. 3 years now in New Jersey. Tell me about how that just adapting to life here has been, comparatively speaking.
Yeah,
for you.
sure. That was a huge thing coming out here. My wife's from Iowa. I mean, they still live in the house she was born in, and her family. So coming here, that's a lot of things people back home asked. Hey, can you handle the big city? I've had a ton of New Jersey fans, friends, neighbors. They're like, hey, do you enjoy it out here? They assume we don't, and we absolutely love it. My kids, they've been here 3 years, which is about where we've been at our coaching stops, and they love their school. They love the stuff to do out here. Honestly, there's more deer that get hit here in New Jersey than there are in the Midwest. They get shot in the Midwest. They get hit here in New Jersey. But no, we love it. Kyla, my wife, we've got a great community, exercise community she's involved with, and we've settled in. We live out in Bridgewater in a great community, and good friends, good people, and then the people we work with very, very, very much so.
Coach, you know what I love? I love 6'6", 317, 6'5", 308, 6'1", 292, 6'4", 305, 6'6", 309. The boys are getting bigger up front.
The boys are getting bigger. The boys are getting bigger, and they're doing some good stuff. It was that we had some issues this past week that everybody kind of noticed and saw, and it's stuff that we're going to keep working on and get better. But there's more numbers. The competition's going up in the room. There's more guys that are understanding schematically what John's trying to do, and just having a blast in what he's doing.
For that group in particular, how different has it been with the new offense, with John, with learning a new system? We always talk about that when it comes to quarterbacks, but nobody thinks about a change for an offensive line.
Well, it is. We still do a lot of the same zone stuff, but John brings some extra wrinkles, and believe it or not, we did 4 or 5 different things to those defensive ends last week. That a high majority of the game, we're banging and chipping and backs and tight ends, and so that those tackles aren't on an island all the time. And that's just one of the things he's brought to help our third down stuff. You look at our third down in week 1, I don't think we've been that good, and you talk talent and all that, but all that third down planning and packaging, his expertise has really helped those guys. And then what he brings as a person every day, I mean, my man is fired up. And you guys, I get joked about it, having some energy and stuff, but John at practice, whether it's the linemen, the receivers, the quarterbacks, he's coached almost all those positions, and he's got a relationship and understanding of the fundamentals. So he's engaged with every guy on offense. It's not just a quarterback thing. So those guys have a lot of fun with it.
Tell me about Jonah Jackson from Media, Pennsylvania. He plays with a little chip, nastiness, which I'm sure you like as an offensive lineman.
He does, and if I had you're always evaluating your talent, you're evaluating your guys. If there was a staple guy in our room, and it's probably the reason he was voted a captain as a junior by his teammates, is Jonah doesn't say a whole lot. He's not a guy you hear about, but he's a guy in that locker room that he hangs out with Deontay Roberts, he hangs out with Bo Melton. He's doing stuff with every guy in our program. And I think that's probably where a lot of his leadership comes from. And then when he plays, we're in the bubble today, it's hot, it's humid. Jonah plays the same today as he does if it's 65 degrees and cool in the spring. He goes to work, and he really has a pride about how he plays. And you see that show up. It doesn't matter what opponent's out there. And, his injury last year, I think we lost him for 5 weeks in the middle of the season. But he's a guy that if I had to go, this is what we're looking to build around, he's the guy right now.
Rutgers assistant head coach and offensive line coach A.J. Blazek with us. You had a guy at right tackle that a few years ago was on the defensive line and has made the transition, and he has started an awful lot and played a lot of football for you. The attributes that Kamal Seymour brings to the position of right tackle.
Yeah, I think Kamal, it's been really fun coaching him because you got a guy who came over and really had never put his hand in the ground as an offensive lineman, which is a different stance, it's different body control. And we threw him in. He came in, the last 4 practices of fall camp 2 years ago. And within 2 or 3 weeks was playing 5-6 snaps a game, 15 snaps a game. By midseason, he's starting at right tackle for us. And Kamal has really grasped all the nuances of the position, and he's still learning them. People go, hey, he's been playing 2.5 years. A lot of guys that have played O-line, they've been playing it their whole life because they couldn't play any other position. But a guy like Kamal, athletically, physically, he's got tools to, in high school, be a tight end, be a D end. And that's, what really makes him such a good player, just making sure his body's always in the right spot. spatially and spatial awareness, some of that stuff on the line still gets him every now and then, but he's playing so fast, and he's really fun to watch and coach right now.
You know, we talk about the recruiting and last year's class. We're seeing a lot of freshmen who are having to play. But tell me about some of these young linemen that you're excited about with Sutton, Raekwon O'Neal for the future.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the back there talking to at our table. I think we have 20 offensive linemen right now, and I think 15 of them are either freshman, sophomore, redshirt sophomore. They all have at least 2 more years left in the program. But you look at the Maedis, the Lonsdorfs, the Raekwon O'Neals, like you said, Reggie Sutton, you know, as a guy that just came in this summer where Ray had the spring to get a jump on things physically. You know, you saw him go out and play 20 snaps last week at Ohio State. And it was at the end, but he's a guy who's played in that environment. And Chris just talked about it. Just being there lets a kid be more comfortable when you see that you go back to that place. And as a freshman or sophomore, if you got that many guys, every venue we go to is the first time they've been there. And does that make a big difference? It should, but as a young guy, it does. You know, you just different places, and you've grown up watching all of us in the Big Ten. That's why you come here to play, but you step in that arena, and it's a little different if you haven't played a lot of football. So that's the fun part, is helping those young guys grow up.
And how about their athleticism for being, you know, big guys?
And that's our number one emphasis, is the athletic ability that a guy brings in. And you got Kenny Parker and his crew. They could take a 250-pound guy, 245-pound guy. If he's got the frame, the growth potential, and I say it all the time, smart, tough, unselfish, dependable. It's all we would just, if you got those, Kenny Parker and his crew is going to get you right physically.
You know, you played at this very level that these guys did in this conference. You know what it's about. How much do you impart your actual playing experience in the Big Ten in your teaching and your coaching every day?
I think the biggest thing is I relate to where we're at, you know, as a program. And I've said that before. My biggest thing I enjoy every day is helping Chris build our program, build this program, the plan, and we all want it to be perfect tomorrow. But going through it as a player, going through it at different stops as a coach, you understand and you see those little things that you can build on. I was a player when I played in a building. We didn't win a lot that first year or two at Iowa. But then staying as a coach, you just saw those kids and the culture continue to change and the buy-in. And, you know, we don't have a single guy ever complain about work, complain about weight room. You know, and that's fun to watch those guys embrace that work, that grind per se. But that's the fun part for me right now, is helping those guys because I was in their shoes. You know, we're not the big 25-star recruits and all that, but we're going to go out and play against those guys, and it really don't matter. You saw Raekwon O'Neal line up against a couple of the best players supposedly in the country, and he's going to grow and play against those guys the next 4 years. Reggie Sutton, Mike Maeddi, playing young guys. Maybe they are a little underdeveloped youth-wise, but as they grow, it's going to be second hat. It don't matter who lines up against them, and they're going to be comfortable playing those guys.
What has it been like for you, a guy from the Midwest, coming into New Jersey recruit? You're kind of a straight shooter. Has that helped you in your recruiting? Because obviously something's working when you've gone into these high schools.
Yeah, you know, and I just think it's a personality. It's how somebody carries their business. I love the, hey, Jersey tough, blue collar. In the Midwest, you hang your hat on the same thing. You're a farm community. You build it around people. It's go to work every day. It's the same thing here in New Jersey. You know, it's not a, you know, it's not a real, hey, it's all about, you know, what people say and what people do, where am I going, who am I hanging out with. It's about go to work every day. It's about enjoy getting better and the process to really strive to be the best you can be every day, and getting that mentality in our players, you know, getting that in alignment. And I think they've started to embrace that a little bit.
All right, so you grew up in Kansas. What does somebody from New Jersey not know about growing up in Kansas?
Casey's Pizza.
Oh, come on. I mean, I'm getting tweets already about this that are really questioning your credentials at this point.
I hope you don't put pineapple on it, do you?
No,
okay,
no, I'm not a pineapple
that's a California
guy.
thing.
Okay.
That's not a.
Listen, I don't know. I just mozzarella and
Fooch.
tomato sauce.
Here's the deal. The real kicker with Casey's Pizza is they have breakfast pizza. And you go to the gas station when you get up, you go to work at 6 in the morning.
Yeah, they have that at a little place called 7-Eleven, too.
No, it's not even close. Okay, so they got biscuits and gravy pizza.
Okay.
They got bacon, egg, and cheese pizza in the morning. I'm in love.
All right.
First sight.
Okay.
I can certainly appreciate the sentiment, but I question the judgment and the selection. Last thing, I assume you're going to have a lot of people at this game.
Yeah.
A lot of family still in Kansas?
Yep, a lot of family. My sister lives 15 minutes away. My dad lives in Lawrence. You know, he's kind of a crazy guy. His retirement,
He's been around a little bit.
Yeah, he comes out here for a month. That's his retirement. I thought he'd be around football a lot, but he hangs out with the grandkids way more. And so I got a lot of family will be there. Guys I used to play with that you don't get to go back and see them in football season. So, ex-teammates. And then my first job was in Kansas. So a couple old players are coming over with their families, which is the fun part now.
That's awesome. Listen, thank you for coming down. We appreciate
fellas.
it. Enjoy this week. And, I am just hoping that Coach has wall-to-wall meetings, which I'm sure he does, that doesn't let, he should assign a security guard to not let you out of the hotel.
I've tried to get a stress ball, but he likes to come into my office, and that's his stress relief.
A.J. Blazek, Rutgers assistant head coach and offensive line coach. Coach Ash will rejoin us in a moment. Your questions for the coach on Twitter at Rutgers Radio and at RU Athletics. And, of course, if you're in attendance here at Quaker Steak and Lube, come on up front and we will get your question in. 877-384-1869. We return in a moment with the head coach on the Chris Ash Show.
At Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, caring is more than a job. It's our responsibility as a business leader and as citizens of this state. Through the Horizon Foundation for New Jersey, we're committed to working alongside those who share our goals. We're caring for our neighbors by supporting programs that help them manage important health issues. We're connecting people with health education that's easier to understand and accessible to all members of our diverse communities. We're creating inspiration by supporting arts and cultural programs that entertain, illuminate, and enrich the lives of our citizens. By sharing our time and resources, we aim to be not only a better company, but a better member of the communities where we work and live. Visit us at community.horizonblue.com and learn more about how the Horizon Foundation for New Jersey is working to support organizations that make New Jersey healthier.
The Chris Ash Show returns after this local timeout. This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube, Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2.50, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar open all year round. On the way to the game and need something to go? Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size. Watch all the games, have a great time, and enjoy the best wings in the USA. 561 Route 1 in Edison, 732-777-WING.
When you think sports, think McGettigan's, the official watch party location for Rutgers football in the premier Irish Bar in New York City. Enjoy our watch party specials with $10 buckets of wings and $5 Coors Light beer buckets, and great weekly specials such as Beer and Burger Mondays, Taco Tuesdays, and Ladies Night on Wednesdays. Located at 70 West 36th Street in Midtown Manhattan, McGettigan's is close to some of the city's most iconic landmarks, such as the Empire State Building and Madison Square Garden. So when you think sports, think McGettigan's.
We have returned for the Chris Ash Show here at Quaker Steak and Lube on Route 1 in Edison. It's now time for our upcoming Rutgers athletic events for you, presented by MGM Resorts. A lot of action at Yersack Field this weekend. Friday, men's soccer taking on Michigan, 8 o'clock. And on Sunday, the women's soccer team taking on Iowa at 1 p.m. We hope to see you there. A big thanks to MGM Resorts for sponsoring our upcoming events. As a proud partner of Rutgers Athletics, MGM Resorts invites you to an entertainment spectacular at the Borgata with Sting and Shaggy or Boyce Avenue, September 21st. Visit theborgata.com to see all the entertainment experiences MGM Resorts has to offer. All right, Rutgers taking on Kansas this week. Coach, let's talk a little bit about the Jayhawks. They had a tough opening week loss to Nicholls State at home in overtime, but they bounced back last week, forced 6 turnovers in their win over Central Michigan. What do we need to know about the Jayhawks?
Well, they're a football team not a lot different than us that is trying to rebuild and get back on a consistent winning path. You know, I've competed against Kansas a number of times over the years back when I was at Iowa State, and I saw them in their heyday when Mark Mangino was there, going to the Orange Bowl and going to bowl games. I saw them build it up, and they're trying to get back to that. No different than what we are. But it's going to be a tough game. Both of us want the same thing. It's a game that we both want to win. And when you talk about, the leagues they play in and what we play in, it's important you win your non-conference games. When you look at their football team, they're built really with their skilled players. The Big 12 is really that type of a league. In the Big 10, I really think it's a line of scrimmage league with your O-line and D-lines. The Big 12 has become a perimeter league with all the spread offenses, and Kansas is really built like that. They have a good group of running backs. Freshman Williams kid had a good game last Saturday against Central Michigan. They've got 3 or 4 wide receivers that are pretty good players. On defense, it's really their linebackers and DBs that are the strength of their defensive unit. So for us, we feel like we have to try to control the line of scrimmage up front on both sides of the ball.
I guess you mentioned Williams, Puka Williams, the running back. He's kind of like a Janarian Grant type, slippery. How important will be, tackling, making sure you wrap this kid up and don't let him slip through?
Yeah, he's got great quickness, great change of direction. He made some really nice cuts last Saturday against Central Michigan. Got some real good productive runs, also out of that. But it is going to be a game that we have to try to control the line of scrimmage and stop the run game and try to make them beat us through the air. And we're going to have to contain him. We're going to have to tackle extremely well. We're going to have great pursuit and pursuing the ball and making sure that he can't cut back and turn in 5-yard gains to 15 and 20 yards because of poor pursuit.
With the talk of tackling, this is a question that just came in a little bit ago on Twitter from JP Tomorrow. Coach Ash, with the talk of removing tackling from youth football and turning it more 7-on-7, do you feel the tackling technique can effectively be taught at any level with no padding or full pad hitting? So it's kind of a football philosophical question.
Yeah, I believe that the game has changed. I believe that coaches need to change the way that we teach certain fundamentals about how to use your hands and keep your head out of tackling as much as possible. It's never going to be perfect because it is a contact sport, but I think the way that we teach tackling and the way I've been doing it now for a few years can be taught at any level. It can be taught in pads, out of pads. It can be taught year-round, and it's the safest and most effective way to teach tackling. In some states, they're starting to mandate the rugby-style type of tackling, and they're mandating that their coaches, high school coaches and youth coaches, have to go through training on how to properly tackle before they can and get certified before they can go coach. And I think that's a national trend, and one I completely agree and support. We'll see where it goes, here in this area. But the proper fundamentals of tackling are so important. It makes the game safer. And I hope that it continues to go that way, where guys have to get certified in proper mechanics or proper fundamentals of tackling before they can coach it.
Chris, I just wanted to point out on defense, I know you want to get more pressure, obviously, but in the middle, Julius Turner has really been physical the first 2 games. I'm just wondering how pleased you are with his physicality.
Very pleased. We got some glimpses of that last year when he was in a rotation with Sebastian Joseph. He really had a tremendous offseason. We were expecting big things out of him, and we were gonna need them, and still are, after we lost Sebastian. And I think Julius has really had a great start to the season right there in the middle. You look at him and you say, oh, he's undersized, but I'll tell you what, man, he's quick, he's explosive, he's tough, he plays with great leverage, he uses his hands, and he's really clogged up the middle for us so far. One of the bright spots out of last week's game, I thought, was until the end, when we gave up a long scramble to Tate Martell, our run defense was pretty competitive, and we were doing a pretty good job, and a lot of it had to do with his ability to control the line right in the middle. They had to get things outside.
We'll take one more time out. Your last chance to talk to the coach at 877-384-1869 when we return, or tweet your question at Rutgers Radio. This is the Chris Ash Show.
Traffic. It can be more stressful than that last-second Hail Mary pass, but Nissan changed the game. Nissan Rogue has available Nissan Intelligent Mobility, like ProPilot Assist, that can start and stop in highway traffic all on its own and help keep you centered. Nissan Rogue. It's a game changer. Get to Nissan, proud supporter of college athletics. ProPilot Assist is an available feature and cannot prevent collisions. Always monitor traffic conditions. Keep both hands on the steering wheel. See owner's manual for safety information.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube. Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2.50, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar open all year round. On the way to the game and need something to go? Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size. Watch all the games, have a great time, and enjoy the best wings in the USA. 561 Route 1 in Edison. 732-777-WING.
The Chris Ash Show returns after this local timeout. This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
At Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, caring is more than a job. It's our responsibility as a business leader and as citizens of this state. Through the Horizon Foundation for New Jersey, we're committed to working alongside those who share our goals. We're caring for our neighbors by supporting programs that help them manage important health issues. We're connecting people with health education that's easier to understand and accessible to all members of our diverse communities. We're creating inspiration by supporting arts and cultural programs that entertain, illuminate, and enrich the lives of our citizens. By sharing our time and resources, we aim to be not only a better company, but a better member of the communities where we work and live. Visit us at community.horizonblue.com and learn more about how the Horizon Foundation for New Jersey is working to support organizations that make New Jersey healthier.
Eight 877-384-1869. Coach, we have one or two more questions on Twitter. One about the tight ends. Have you been pleased with the way your tight ends have played so far? Not a ton in terms of the catches, but you have employed 3 tight ends quite a bit this year.
Yeah, we have. They've allowed us to be more multiple and present some different sets that we typically have not been able to. They've got different skill sets. We can put them down at a 3-point, flex them out at wide receiver, so I like that part of it. I love having tight ends with multiple talents on our roster, but we need more production from our tight ends. We haven't had the production that we're looking for yet. We'll get there. We have to get there because we're going to rely on them a lot to put points on the board for us, and we just haven't gotten that yet.
Looks like another young kid at the tight end position from Shawnee High School, Davon Robinson, might be someone to help you this year.
Yeah, we're really excited about him. I think in the Texas State game he caught a pass and he took off, and you could see his burst of athletic ability. He's going to be an outstanding football player as he continues to develop.
Tricky spot here in having back-to-back road games, and school just started. Younger players in the program, how have they gone about with the time management, everything that's involved with that?
Well, some of them are still trying to figure it out. That's the thing that we've tried to stress to our players, young and old, that it's really important that you get into a routine once school starts. You got to go to class, you've got study hall, you've got tutors, you've got to lift, you've got film to study, you've got practice, and you've got to sleep and eat. And if you don't have a very strict routine and schedule, it'll eat you alive. And next thing you know, you're doing nothing well. And we really work hard on trying to help our guys get an established routine that they can stick to, and we're doing that right now with our guys.
For a coach, for your staff, back-to-back road games, a little bit shorter time to work with. Is it more challenging than usual?
Yeah, especially like this week, our flight is longer, so we're leaving earlier. We have less time here at home to prep like we would for a home game. So we've got to make up for some lost time when we get to our hotel in Kansas.
On a personal note, we saw the team take steps forward last year. But how satisfying for you to see some of the guys who have fought their way onto NFL rosters, a Sebastian Joseph, a Rob Martin, a Janarian Grant, a Gus Edwards, these guys, non-draft, but they have fought their way onto NFL rosters.
Yeah, I absolutely am thrilled for them. Love those guys. And, we tell them all the time, if you're part of our program, we're hoping that we can develop you to excel in those situations if that's what you want. And those young men went and did a great job in training camp, and they've earned themselves either on an active roster or on the practice squad, and hopefully they can stick for quite a while.
Coach, good luck this week in Kansas.
I appreciate it, guys. It's always a blast to be here with you guys on Wednesday night.
All right, we will see you next week. Rutgers and the Jayhawks of Kansas, Saturday, 12 noon. Game will be aired on MSG Plus locally, and of course on the Rutgers IMG Sports Network beginning at 11 a.m. with our pregame show. Special thanks to Tim DeMartin and Colin Osborne on RVision, Paul Schrager, our producer and engineer, and Rutgers Sports Information, Hasim Phillips and Jimmy Gill. For Fooch and the coach, this is Chris Garland speaking. Rutgers in Kansas, Saturday at noon. We'll see you then. And next week on the Chris Ash Show.
You've been listening to the Chris Ash Show on the Rutgers IMG Sports Network. Join us throughout the season from Quaker Steak and Lube on US 1 in Edison to hear from the head football coach of the Scarlet Knights. The Chris Ash Show has been brought to you by The Chris Ash Show is an exclusive presentation of IMG, America's home for college sports.